All right. Everybody's talking about the Monday Night Football matchup between the Chiefs and the Rams and the ridiculous offensive display that was put on really by both teams. Um, this is going to take a different focus. We're going to look at the defense a little bit in that game, specifically at former Chief and current Ram Marcus Peters. So we're going to look at some of the stuff he's done. He's been a little bit off this year. A little bit banged up. They were supposed to have a real good unit with both him and Aqib Talib. Talib has been out, expecting to get him back by the end of the season, but he's been out, and Peters has been a little banged up and struggled a little bit. But we'll take a look at him in this matchup. All right, so we're going to start off up top, and I will let it play and then come back around and talk about it a little bit. All right, up top. All right, so we get a little bit of a slip in there, right? I like to call this an hour out. Basically, they're saying, hey, you're playing off. We want to get the ball in the hands of a guy. With that matchup there, let him get the ball in his hands, see if he can juke you, make a move on you. So that's what they're doing. They're just throwing this thing right now. You can see Peters slips a little bit on there, but gets himself under control, comes up and makes a tackle on the play. They end up getting a few yards on it. They were backed up in the first place by a penalty. They end up getting 4 yards on it. He contains it. He does a right job with it. Not a very physical player by any stretch of the imagination, but gets it taken care of, gets him pushed out of bounds. All right, he is going to be lined up on the number 2 receiver to the bottom here. All right, start off as number 1, but with the motion, he's number 2. You can see he's way off. We'll take a look here. All right, same idea there, right? They're throwing it right now. Peters is way off. 2nd and 14, not 3rd and forever. It's 2nd and forever. They're taking that opportunity, getting the ball in his hands, and this is actually like a real screen too, where they're getting guys out. They don't always do that with us now. Sometimes it's just a check. All right, but they're releasing these guys out there, trying to get some blockers out front of this guy. As you can see, he gets a nice little pickup on the play. All right, Peters coming from a distance, ends up getting blocked by number 14. They're coming from the inside. All right, at the bottom of the screen now. All right, so this is a cover 3 look, and he lets Kelsey run right by him. All right, so he's playing underneath that. He ends up having some help from the safety over the top, but really, I mean, that's a middle safety. His job is over here. He's going to help out, and he's more intended to help out inside than help out over the top. So Peters, really in a rough spot here. A better ball. I mean, there's all kinds of room here for Mahomes to put a ball that's going to be easily completed, not contested at all by the defense. We see this with Peters sometimes. He lets guys get by him. He puts himself in kind of a tough position there. It looks like he's playing man, but he's not. I mean, there's nobody else in the field is playing man. Sometimes there's one guy playing man, but basically the way this defense is set up, everything else is going on around it. There's no way. It makes no sense. So, he's got to be in a better position on that. Like I said, a better ball, and they're going to have a major problem there. We're going to go later in the quarter now. Take a look again at the bottom of the screen. All right, eyes on the bottom of the screen. All right. So obviously, there's a touchdown on the other side. I like Peters in the bottom here. He's real patient. They play an interesting technique where they kind of turn their hips faster than I want. And he does this all the time. And I think it's probably something he's being taught. I don't love it because right here, he's got his hips turned. Even though he's not bailing out, running deep and opening things up, he has already turned his hips, which means if this route gets cut inside, it's going to be very difficult for him to break on that quickly and stay on that receiver. Here he's in cover one, he's in man. Patient with it. They juke to the inside. He stays in the outside. He ends up matching up with it real well here. But like I said, I don't love the hips on that, but a good, patient man coverage, plays it well vertically. All right, on the bottom of the screen now, we're in the second quarter. All right, playing a little tighter, man. And now you see, he's basically in the same position he was in that look that, that must have been cover three where he looked like he was playing man. He's playing press, he's playing tight here, not jamming him or anything. Again, that's what he's being taught to do. What's they're going to do in this specific defense. Bails a little bit, but reasonably patient with it. Maintains good position, plays inside leverage, just a little behind him, which is really where you want to be. All right, right there in that position, just a little bit behind him. He can't cut anywhere. Now he starts to go into the inside, and you look, and of course Peters is right underneath it there. So that's a real good job there. That's really good position by him. All right, up top now, we'll take a look. You got no receivers on that side, just the tight end. All right, so I really like the way he plays this thing, right? He's got the way I would term this, he's got no immediate, vertical threat outside of this tight end. So he should be aware of that, but that's not somebody that should be intimidating with speed. I believe it's Kelsey's the one actually going in motion. So that's the other tight end there. So, nothing really pressing him immediately. You can see he kind of relaxes a little bit when Kelsey steps away, backs off just a tad. And now he steps up. And once he gets that pass read, he's bailing out. He sees this guy flailing. He's bailing out and looking for a route coming across the field. And we've got this route bending across the field and coming over into his zone. So when you don't have anything in your deep field zone, here is a deep third player in cover three. You've got to be aware of other threats coming to your zone from other zones. And that's what he is. There's only one place it can come from. It's not coming from in front of him. He sees that tight end go out. All right, that's the natural place for it to come from. So he can look to the inside. A middle third player has got to be aware of it coming from either side. All right, an outside third player, it's just coming from that inside. He's aware, and he's in a good position to match up with that guy as he comes across here. All right, we'll go a little bit later in this drive. On the bottom of the screen now, take a look. All right, so we got trouble, all right? We got trouble here at the beginning. You can see we're playing man, all right? Everybody's in man here. And, really when you have safety help over the top, you're going to play with outside leverage a lot of the time because you've got inside help. And that's, a schematic thing that there's different theories of thought on it, but generally you're gonna realize you've got inside help. You get down to the red zone here, it's tough to do that. You got to tighten up really everything. You can't allow for windows. Here the safety's breaking quick, looking at Kelsey here, and he's really disappearing. So Peters gets kind of on his back foot here. He's playing a little looser than I like to see him play because remember the end zone's just right there, right? And he's playing a little bit too much to the outside too. If that safety's sitting right here and they throw a skinny little thing, it's still a touchdown, right? So look at all this room he's giving up inside. Don't love that. I want to see him right tight on that. Even if you're playing with outside leverage, at least be in position to bring your hand across the body and make a play on the ball and prevent the touchdown. He's not. If they went to that throw, he was going to be in trouble there. I do, however, love the effort at the end of the play. So we'll watch him right here. All right, as this goes to their side, Mahomes scrambles. Look at him speed up, all right, to make sure that guy's taken care of. All right, look at him speed up and really get underneath that, showing great effort at the end. to get underneath that route, realizing he's not getting any help from his safety on that. All right, so that's definitely something I like to see. That's a good job on that one. All right, later in the quarter. This is a 2-minute situation. All right, so you have to take everything a little bit with a grain of salt. They're going to play a little bit looser on things, and they're probably not as concerned with the run game. He's in the bottom of the screen here. This is tough. I mean, it's almost a pick. I mean, it's, no contact or anything like that. But he's got to let this thing clear. And he looks to break on Hill there. Lets up a little bit because he sees the ball going in front of him. But yeah, so just if this thing continues, you want to see him continue to break on that with speed and really cut down that space that Hill has to catch the ball there, number 10. At the bottom of the screen. Yep, that's the kind of break we like to see. All right, so this is kind of what you want to see on that last one. He was a little bit prevented because there was another guy there in the way. He had to let clear. Here it's wide open. They run that hitch. Boom, he's breaking. He's getting on it right now, taking away any room they have to throw that ball. That's a good job on that one. I like to see that. Also, just notice where he's coming in at this. All right, so he's not jumping this ball or anything. He's on his upfield shoulder. Now, if this was a hitch and go, and I believe that's Tariq Hill. Paul's a little funky. You can't quite make him out, but I believe that's Tariq Hill. If this is a hitch and go, and Hill looks to go upfield, he's going to run right into Peters. So as long as you're taking the right angle, same thing. It works for hitch and goes, works for slant and goes. If you're taking the right angle towards his upfield shoulder, it puts you in a position where if it is a double move, a pump and go sort of situation, they're going to run into you, and that's going to slow them down enough that you can catch up with them. We saw a couple plays ago Peters' makeup speed, how he can do that and catch up with routes. This is going to slow Hill down enough running into him that he's not going to be able to, the Peters, will be able to recover on that. All right, bottom of the screen. Getting that wide. All right, so just really, really patiently sitting on that route. All right, and you can see that's the only thing he's got going on there. And again, I believe that's Hill. All right, that's the only thing he's got going on there. He's sitting. He's looking at the quarterback. All right, now they're in a position where they're pretty much going to score. All right, there's likely going to be a touchdown. Ends up being a touchdown in the next play, but they're definitely going to get a field goal out of this drive if the defense doesn't do something. He is in a position here where he's looking and he's baiting and he's going to jump. And he'll have to make that decision. If Mahomes does look over there, I have to make that decision. Do I want to risk it, jump the ball, or do I want to secure the tackle? He secures the tackle. There's 27 seconds left. He should be able to tackle him inbounds. Don't know if he will because he's not the most aggressive tackler. So he might, worst case scenario, he's pushing him out of bounds. And honestly, it doesn't really matter because they still got 2 timeouts at this point. They just took their first couple plays ago. But I mean, you look at this too, and that's something a good smart players could do. That you got to make that decision. And if you risk it, you're risking really a turnaround on the other side too. Because if he picks this ball off, he's gone. Unless Hill can get him. That receivers don't make those plays very often, though, especially when you jump it like that, because he's not. All the momentum's going in the opposite direction. So I like how he's sitting this. I like how he's baiting it. Doesn't really jump on it right away. And then Mahomes obviously goes away, and the ball goes in a different direction. But I like the way he's playing on that. We're going to go into the second half now. We're going to look at a couple plays here in the third quarter. If I can get to them. There they are. All right. He's going to be up top on this one, playing press man. Take a look. All right. So overall, like what I see on this. All right. We're going to take a look here at the beginning. Kind of plays a little bit high. I'll slow it down. plays a little bit high. And you see he turns just a little bit to the inside, makes it a little bit laborious to come around. But that's all right. He gets in good position on it. Plays a little bit high on it right away. All right, see the angle he's taking is really putting him on top of the route. Again, you want to be underneath because right now, if this guy puts a foot in the ground and cuts underneath, well, right now, not quite now. All right, but just really initially, this is very nitpicky here. All right, but in this position, boom, you come to the underneath route. That's where you're gonna, you're gonna be able to get the ball off and get some yards on that. This is actually a run play, obviously, but when you're on the edge, when you're playing man, you're man to man, you're man to man. That's the name of the game, and it doesn't matter run, pass, whatever. You cover your man. Period. So, looking at that, just a tad. If you'd like to see him engaging more on this hip instead of getting in front of it. Obviously, it works out. He would just be in a difficult spot trying to make a play on a slant if that's where they went with the ball. Very next play. We are going to be on the bottom now. All right. So, not bad. Cover one. Playing real loose. He could tighten up a little bit, especially when he gets to the edge here. So don't mind his leverage. Remember, like I said, he's got help inside in cover one. All right. So I'd like to see it maybe just a little bit tighter as this kind of progresses. Be at least in position to make a play on the ball. Right now, I don't know if he is, but he and the safety have this bracketed pretty well. I just like to see him a little bit tighter on that. But again, he's got some speed. You can probably make that up in the air, and you like to see the free safety stay over the top there as well. Going now to the end of the quarter. All right, bottom of the screen. Real nice and patient with it, which I definitely like to see. We'll go back. That's not even counting. All right, real nice and patient with it. As I said, definitely good. Covers up that out. Now, just kind of look at where his hips are throughout. You always want to keep your hips square. You don't want to get turned around too much. And this is kind of what he does here is he's getting sold on it going vertically, turns his hips, and now we get the out-cutting routes. I'm going to slow it down. Boom. Now he does a good job putting his foot in the ground and coming back around to it. Obviously, that's a bigger guy. That's a guy he should be able to run with most of the time. If it's Hill making a quicker cut there, it's going to give him a little bit more of a problem. And this is obviously the reverse because it's working the out, but this is the same sort of thing I was talking about before when he was man on the top, and I was talking about what if this is an in-cutting route? Because right now in this position, this receiver ends up having the ability to break to the outside. He reacts very quickly to it, so he's getting a good read on the receiver's hips. And again, he's a better athlete than him, so he's able to cover that up. But with a guy with equal speed, that can put you in a difficult spot. Good job by him showing some great physical ability on that, though. And also a great read on the hips because you can't get away with playing the technique that way if you're not able to get a good read so you can get your hips swung around on it. All right, looking at the bottom of the screen, we're going to see an in cut. Take a look. All right, so we can see he's got the in cut here, and again, you just want to cut out that space a little bit faster. All right, look, we've got a cover two shell here, right? All right, but this guy's kind of sitting low, and we can see that it ends up being a man look. All right, looks like cover two initially, ends up really being like more of a man look. All right, like a two-man look, and they're gonna run this slant here. Again, break on it, get to that shoulder a little bit quicker, so you're in a better position to play on that thing. All right. Later in the fourth, bottom of the screen again. He's playing a head up to maybe a little bit inside leverage. All right. But he does get his hips turned a little bit. That allows for the inside release. Again, just cut down that space a little bit. Right? He tends to play off things a little bit, especially with a bigger guy like this. You want to be tight to it because he's going to use his body. You know, if they get a throw to him, if it's a decent throw, he's going to use his body to try and kind of box you out. You know, a smart quarterback's going to put it in a place like that too. So you want to cut out that space, so you're in a position where you can bring an arm around and knock the ball down on that. All right, very next play. All right, he's on number 2 in the bottom here. He moving around a little funky, right? Gets in on that, tightens up. You know, kind of looks initially like it's going to be like a 2-man look. It's really just a cover 2, though. You know, and he's, you know, essentially with this look, you know, he's getting the receivers kind of pushing off on him, kind of getting to him. He's a bigger guy, obviously the tight end. All right, so here he is reading the 3-step. Reading the 3-step, you want to make sure you stay on that thing. It becomes like a man basically when you get that 3-step read. So again, he wants to look at getting to this shoulder, and then to the left arm. All right, the inside arm is going to like be securing the tackle. The right arm, the outside arm, he wants to be coming across Kelsey's body, looking to deflect that ball. I'm going to slow it down here. All right, so he's just not quite there. He gets shocked back a little bit, as we'll see tight here. He gets shocked back a little bit by Kelsey. We'll take a look from the tight angle. It's a little too tight, so you're not going to see him right away, but he's going to be out here. We'll go look at how that ball looks coming in there. All right, on the right, he is coming into the screen now. All right, so we just see, you know, that ball's a little bit off. All right, and he's just a little bit off because he got body got pushed back a little bit. So the ball ends up being a little bit low. He gets a little bit lucky on that one, right? Really wants to be breaking up on the upfield shoulder here and looking to bring his hand across on a better ball there. All right, but really breaking on the upfield shoulder, kind of with where his place is low and in front of him. You know, if he can get to this shoulder, he's going to be in a position right there. You know, even with that left arm, that's going to be essentially what's making the play on that ball. All right, we're going to go a little bit later in the fourth. He's going to be up top now, top of the screen. All right, so playing loose, get the stop route, breaking on it. All right, so definitely seeing some good things there. All right, later in the fourth. He's going to be at the bottom of the screen on this one. All right, so pretty good position on here. All right. I mean, this really is like a two-man look. He's not really looking to jam or anything, right? He's running right underneath that route. They send the tight end in the corner here. He's right there underneath it. Real good position. You want to take away underneath the route because that's the path the ball has to travel. Now they put it in a position where if they want to go to this, they're going to have to loft it out, put it in front of him, and they should have safety help on that. Obviously, the safety's ducking down here as the play goes on, but that would be the safety's read would be to come over top and overlap on that thing. All right, last one we'll look at here. He's going to be up top. All right, and this is the interception that you would assume would seal this game, but that is not what football is in 2018, especially when you're playing the Chiefs. So didn't really do that, but took away this drive from him anyway. All right, so he drops off. Boom. All right, really cover two drop. Gaining some depth. Looking to get underneath that vertical route. All right. I'm not really clear here what he's looking at. I think he's reading the quarterback. He could be progression reading on it, looking to the inside, being aware, which we've seen out of him in the past. We've seen out of him in this film that he's likely aware that, hey, I've got something coming deep. There could be something underneath it, and he knows that the only place for that to come from is the other side of the formation. There's nobody right in front of him that can be in that underneath zone, that curl to flat area. So he could be looking at that. I think he's looking at the quarterback, and that's honestly just a visual thing of where I think his helmet's at. And right here he turns, and I think he's looking at the quarterback. So I believe he sees the quarterback looking right here, and he just fades onto it, pops right underneath it, and he gets the pick. Either way, I don't know what they got him reading for sure. I don't know what he is reading for sure. Either way, a great read and an awesome play by Marcus Peters on that one to presumably, but not really, seal the game for his team. So this is all for now. We will be coming at you every week throughout the season, looking at some of the best defensive backs in the league, looking at corners, breaking down their performance, things they do well, things they don't do well, and just evaluating that overall, looking at technique and things along those lines. You can see down in the notes below, you can follow me at Coach Minnick on Twitter, also on Instagram at Coach Minnick. My work is on SB Nation, The Grueling Truth, CincyJungle.com. So lots of different places you can find me, but probably the best one to find me on is Twitter, because all my work gets linked in there. And give me a subscription. You like what you're hearing. If you're listening this long, you obviously like what you're hearing. So give me a subscription. Keep following me. I'll keep coming out with content on defensive back play, and I will be back next week looking at another one of the league's top defensive backs.